back to the Stitching Tendencies podcast. My name is May, also known as 3 Stitches Short on Instagram and Ravelry. And we are on episode 7. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Today is August 1st, 2022. As always, I'm coming to you from the northeast area of Ohio, where I live with my husband, 2 girls, and mini zoo. I am drinking another one of those Smirnoff ice thingies. I just really like them. All right, we have a lot going on. So the last couple weeks, so if you remember, I kind of just cut everything off pretty abruptly on the 15th, and I went to bed. My eyes were killing me. I ended the podcast because my eyes were not doing so great. And they continued to not do so great. The next day, Saturday the 16th, I went to my niece's graduation party, and then I went to a friend's birthday party literally right after, and my eyes were bugging me literally the entire time, and by Sunday it was so bad I couldn't really see. I couldn't open my eyes because the pain was just so bad. Monday, I struggle bust through work, and I got through it. Thankfully, I'm not on the phones yet. And so I was able to take frequent breaks for my eyes as needed. But they were just miserable. I couldn't open my eyes very well because of the pain. Tuesday I had a doctor's appointment. That wasn't incredibly helpful, so I had another appointment on Wednesday. And that doctor did give me some medicated eye drops. And I want to say by Friday when I started my shift, I was doing much better. So it was literally like a week that I couldn't knit, I couldn't crochet. It's only been 2 weeks since my last podcast. And one of those weeks, the majority of it, I was down for the count. I couldn't see. Literally, my 3-year-old was helping me from my bed down to the bathroom and back upstairs so I wouldn't fall on my face, which I do when I can see. So she was guiding me, and if I had any issues, she'd go get my husband. She was so cute and so helpful, and I just love her so much. She really was just such a cute and caring little one for that. But so finally by Friday of that first week, I could see again. I started like panicking because I really had I had a test knit that was coming due. I hadn't knit on pretty much anything. I had a few things that I'm like, okay, I have to get these things finished this month, and I couldn't see. So finally when I started feeling better, I was like rushing like a mad woman to try to get everything done. And then so Saturday and Sunday, I started like trying to mad rush through everything. Monday, I had to work. Tuesday, this past Tuesday, my daughter had a Christmas in July snowball fight with our local PTA, and I took her, except I got the time wrong. So we ended up being at the library like an hour early, which is not a problem. She got to play in the kids area. She got to make a couple of friends. It was a good time. I read a little bit on one of my mobile books, which was fine. But I wasn't intending to be there for 2 hours. I was intending to be there for like maybe an hour, so I didn't take any knitting with me. And I'm like, this is a wasted opportunity. I could have done so much during this time. Yeah, so, that was Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, I was knitting, trying to get everything done. Friday, I worked. Saturday and Sunday, I was just really down to the wire trying to meet my goals, but at the same time, I'm planning a few trips we have coming up. So next week, I'm taking my husband to see Incubus and Sublime when they're here at what we call Blossom Music, whatever it's called, which is like a 40-minute drive, so I'll be able to take some knitting with me for the drive down. And when we were there in July for the Hailstorm concert, I learned that they accept certain size bags, so I should be able to take a little bit of knitting and knit during the concert, because we are in the covered area, so even if it rains like it did last time, my knitting will be fine. Yay! So next week we're going to Incubus and Sublime, and then my birthday is on the 19th. We leave for Florida on the 20th. We're going to Disney World, and we're going to spend a day at Universal so I can go to the Harry Potter world. And then we come back on the 27th, which is my daughter's birthday. And then 3 days later, on the 30th, is my husband's birthday. So August is a huge month for us. September is going to be pretty quiet, but then in October, I'm going to Rhinebeck for the, obviously, Rhinebeck Festival. And then the week after, we're taking the family on a trip to Great Wolf Lodge, which is an indoor water park, and my daughter just absolutely loves it, and Lucy absolutely loves it. She loves water. She's gonna be probably 8 months old by then. Yeah, she's gonna be 8 months old by then, and she loves water, so hopefully we can sit in this little area and she'll just splash around and have a great time. It's gonna be amazing. But so in between all of this knitting that I've only got a week to finish all these projects, I'm doing all this planning for these vacations and trips that we're taking. So it's been a very, very busy week, because the first week I was down and out. I could not do anything. Oh. Alright. So then, last week at work, I got some decent news. Because of the blowback of the people who are being forced to transition to a hybrid situation where they're due certain days in the office and certain days work from home, and the fact that I do not have a local office that I could go to, even if they tried to force my department back in office, I would be exempt from having to return to office. My job, as long as I, meet the expectations of my position, my job is safe. Yay! That takes a lot of stress off me, not because I particularly need the employment, but because I need the employment for my wool addiction. And so having my wool allowance safe is very, very helpful. Also, my manager has said, due to capacity and everything going on, should I, once I'm back on the phones, like to pick up some extra hours, I'll be able to do that. So when we have a trip coming up, if I want to work a couple extra days to help just pay off that trip really quick, I can do that. And that's going to be so helpful to have that flexibility. Like, yeah, I know I'm working a couple extra hours, but it's really going to make this trip a little bit more comfortable for us. So, yay! Okay. Now, the shop, even though I still have that cushion of my employer and my position, I am moving ahead with the shop. I have gotten so much inventory in. My little sewing machine has been going rapid fire. I have 72 wool condoms ready to go. They're all packaged up and just ready. I've taken the pictures. I just have to get everything listed, which is going to be my goal this week because I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yes, I'm very fortunate. I only work 2 days a week. So I have 72 wool condoms. I have 50 small cords, which are going to be 2 half-meter segments and 1 1-meter segment. And those are going to be in a total of 5 color options. And then I have 50 large cords. Those are going to be 2 1-meter cuts and 1 2-meter cut. Also available in 5 color options. And then I think it was 50 of the skinny cords that I have. I say skinny and larger, but really the skinny cords and the large cords, it's a 1 millimeter difference. The skinny cords have a 1 millimeter hole, and are like 0.5 millimeter thick. And then the larger cords are 1.5 millimeters for the hole and like 0.75 millimeters thick. So you get a total diameter of like 3 millimeters, like 2 millimeters and 3 millimeters. It's not a big difference, but wow, does it make a big difference. So the skinny cords are exactly the same thing as pearl strings and the knitting barber cords. Those are going to be my small cords, and then the large cords, in my opinion, they are more durable because the hole is just a smidgen bigger. You can get a wider variety of needles to fit on them, and they do not pull off the needles as easily. So I will have both options on as it goes, and then based on what sells and what doesn't will determine what I continue to restock on. And then I have a couple other things that I'm going to offer. I did make some progress keepers. I like the ones for progress keepers and for beginning of round markers for like the really big needles. I'm talking like 6 millimeter needles. I like the like earring back ones. So that is what I have made, because that's what is best for my type. In the future, I might get different backs, but when I am designing things to sell, I go based off of what I would like and what I want to buy, and if I think other people would like that too. And so I've made some progress keepers. They are all the earring lever backs, and then I have a really great, I call them perfect counting. Now it's going to come as a sock set, and I wish I had one of my prototypes, but they're all in the basement and I wasn't gonna go down 2 flights of stairs. Sorry. Maybe next one I'll show you guys. but I'm calling them perfect counters, and they're gonna come on like a little sock card, and it's gonna have a total of 20 matching stitch markers for counting your rows on the front of the foot. It's gonna come with a beginning of the round stitch marker. It's gonna come with a progress keeper. It's gonna come with 2 cuff markers, and then a total of 6 heel markers. And I'll show you how those work when I have some of my items up to show you, so that it's like in hand and I can show you, because I should have grabbed one of my prototypes, but it's okay. So all of that is going to be on the shop, and I'm expecting to have everything up and listed by August the 5th. I know because of my eye issues, I was very quiet on social media the last couple weeks. But if you do follow me on Instagram, keep an eye out. That way when things go live, you can be one of the first ones to check it all out. Okay, now into the knitting content. I was at 17 minutes, not bad. All right, into the knitting content. We got a little bit of reprieve from the heat. So I was able to wear my rocket tee today. It helps that my office is in my attic, where I have a AC, so I can keep it physically cooler. But this is my rocket tee by Tannis Fiber Arts. I'm gonna stand up, but try not to hit my head. So this is it. And then I hit my head anyway. I absolutely love it. I knit this on the called for needles with, I was a little bit smaller in gauge, so I knit a size up to get it perfect. According to the pattern, and everything was knit according to the pattern, except instead of striping, I just did a solid skein. It took about 2.5 skeins to complete in my size, and I believe I did the large. And if I did it again, which I have a couple rocket tee quantities in stash, so when I do it again, I will stripe, but I'm also going to do some shaping in the midsection, because I have an hourglass shape, and I really, really like that about my body. And so what I might do is, like, from here-ish, like right below the bust, I will bring that shaping in just a little bit. And then let it go out from there, because my hips will re-stretch that area as needed, but I don't want it to be as boxy as it currently is. The colorway is Prancing Peacocks by Tina's Twisted Fibers, and it was it's 75% superwash Blueface luster, and then 25% nylon. This was my first time working with BFL. I can't ever say that darn sheep's name. No, it's not the alcohol's fault. Okay, so this was my first time working with BFL, and I like it. It's a little bit more natural feeling than merino can be. I wouldn't say it's like super itchy. I'm wearing just a regular flush tone, so you can't really see it. I'm just wearing a regular camisole. So it's definitely touching my skin in a lot of areas, and it's not bothering me. I've literally been wearing it all day for work. So yeah, it's great. I do love it. I might do a couple more things in BFL now that I know the wearability of the fabric. So that's great. Let's see. Finished objects. I have 1 finished again, 4 finishes. I've got 1, it's technically a finished object, but then it became a hoe, thanks to the husband, so you'll see that in a minute. And then I only have 1 active whip. What? Okay, so grabbing my little finish bag. The first in the finished again section, boom. This is a shorty that's coming off. Fits my husband perfectly, doesn't fit blockers very well. But there was a hole, one-time washing, one time, and he got a hole in his sock. He washed it in the washer, even though I told him not to. But I mended this up. And this wool is called Jamie's Kilt. And I think the dyer is called Tulip Tree or something like that. Tulip Tree Yarns, I think is what it's called, on Etsy. I was looking specifically for more wools that I could make my husband some socks with, because out of everything, it's one of the few things he actually will wear and is always super appreciative for. So I mean, he gets lots of socks throughout the year. And this was my first ever cut in toe. So now that this is all fixed up, he has a full set again. And he can wear that. So, yay. All right. Now, first time finishes. This was mine. I am so excited for this. This is a Musselburgh by Isolde Teague. It is on Blue Raspberry by the Moonlight Studio on her 80/20 base. This stitch marker is where I was last time, and this is just a really cute little shell stitch marker from Arkansas Yarn Co. Now, funny thing is, you see that, you're like, oh, you didn't do very much. No. This was the cast on. So here, all the way down, this is what I did in the last couple weeks. So I practically knit the whole dang thing. And like I said, this is mine. I gave the first one away. That's not happening. I love this hat because you can wear it with your hair up and have like a bit of a slouchy hat type feel. Or if it's super cold, you can pull it and like have more of a skull cap type feel, and then you have like 4 layers around your ears, and it is just so fantastic. I love this hat, and I am so happy that Brittany was able to dye me another skein of this. I'm able to have my hat. Oh, it's so delicious. Okay. Second finished object. We're going to do these in proper order. Harpy Socks 1. Okay. And these ones are 64 stitches on a 2.5 millimeter needle, 9-inch circular. 15 rows of 2x2 ribbing. And this is Wonderland Heather by Knitpick Stroll. This is Harpy by Lolo Did It on the 75-25 base. And this is Grape Fest by Happy Mermaid Yarn Co. On her MCN High Twist base. So this is a poor example of my perfect counters because typically it would all be matchy-matchy coordinating, but my daughter got into my personal stash, so I had to make do. But what it is so you get, can you see? Okay, you get 20 of these markers to go up and down the rows, and I personally mark every 10 rounds, and I know for my mother she needs 60 rows in the foot, my husband needs 60 rows in the foot, and then the leg is just whatever I feel like doing for that pair. So you get a cuff marker to start your counting, and that's a different color than the leg and foot colors. The leg and foot you get a total of 20, and then you get a total of 6. Let me take this off the marker, or off the blocker. Okay, so when you're doing this, you have all your markers there, and then you get a total of 6 markers for the heels, and they're a contrast color so that you don't get lost, and you mark where you're going to cut in your heel. What I do is I do first, last, and middle. This is just from when I was finishing up the heel. So you get 6 there. Now hear me out. You knit your first sock. You get everything marked up and perfect. Then you start knitting your second sock. You put your heel counter in. They have their own heel counters so that things don't get too off base. And then as you finish the first sock, you move the row counters over to the second sock. That way when you finish up all the counters on the sock, you're done. And then you mark your heels. If you're doing a cut-in heel, you mark your heels. And then at the end of it, the idea is that you have 2 perfectly counted, perfectly matching socks with very little actual counting work on your part. You just put your marker every 10 rounds, and when you run out of stitch markers, you run out. The reason I'm including 20, which would allow for 200 rows in your foot and leg combined, is I know some people like really long legs, and some people have really big feet. I have a friend I'm about to cast on a pair for, and she's got size 13 feet. 13 women's, thankfully. But I also have a friend who's got a size 13 men's feet, which is crazy. So those are the ideas behind the perfect counters. I'll be able to give more of a detail when I, have the actual thing with me. I'm waiting on one more piece for those, so those may or may not be listed when the shop update comes. But that is finished object number 2, and these are for my mom. Finished object number 3. Boom! These are Harpy 2. These ones were for me, but they're still a little bit bigger than what I would probably want for myself, so I might gift them to somebody. I don't know. But these are 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeter needles. This is Harpy by Lolo Did It, and Heels, Toes, and Cuffs are all Wonderland Heather by Knitpick Stroll. You can see I used my Perfect sock counters. I did not do a cut and heel for these ones. I actually learned and conquered the Shadow Wrap short row heel from Denise of Earth Tones Girl. She's amazing. Oh my goodness. So she has a free video tutorial on her YouTube channel, Earth Tones Girl. But I also am a big believer of you know, support the designer. So I went and personally bought the PDF. It was only like $5 for her sock exploration pattern. So I definitely did do that to help support the designer. And these are the same row count, 2x2 for 15 rows, 50 rows for the leg, 60 rows for the foot, the rounded toe from the Rose City roller socks. This is kind of like my basic pattern. They're still a little too big, so I've got a pair of zeros, 9-inch circular zeros. I'm gonna try one more time with the same counts before I start trying to actually mess with the pattern itself, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, so my final fully finished item, oh, I already gave it away. Oh my goodness, look at this. Okay, so this is my Love Notes by Tin Can Knits. It's knit on MCNDK by Trilogy Yarns, and the colorway is Till We Meet Again. This was a custom dye request that she did for me. I'm just gonna pop it on so I can show you all how amazingly proud I am. I love it. It's so light and airy and just, oh, it's perfect. Look at this. Oh, and the there's no puckering with the lace. It cuts off exactly where I wanted it to cut off. I am going to wear this primarily with my Empire waist maxi dresses, sometimes with my high-waisted maxi skirts. So this is just perfect all around, 10 out of 10. I love the pattern. I love how it turned out. I learned the tubular bind off. Excuse me. I learned the tubular bind off for this, and it came out perfect. Look at that. It's so beautiful. So the only problem I have is I did bad conversion math or something, because when I was looking at the pattern and ordering wool, I calculated I should have needed 5 skeins, and I ordered 6 just to be safe. I used like 2 1/4. So I have 3 3/4. I have 3 3/4 skeins left. What's a girl to do? I'm probably gonna knit 2 more Love Notes, one in a 1 to 2 year old size and one in a 4 to 6 year old size. That way for Yule, me and my girls can have matching sweaters, and I think that would just be so adorable. Okay, now for the last one. This was technically a finished object. I was in the Lolo Did It test knit for the Dumbledore's Army socks. And here it is. And it is so fun. This is definitely a bit more blue than it's showing up. This is the color Forget-Me-Nots. And this is Fraser's Ridge. And it's like a periwinkle bluey purple. And this is definitely like a speckly green with some like brown tones in it. I love this. It was a great pattern to knit. Other than the fact that I couldn't see and I was rushing, and so my reading comprehension was busted or something. I don't know. The only problem I had was of my own creation. It's not supposed to have a contrast heel, but I did one anyway. It's got a slip stitch heel flap, and it's got this really unique, I think it's called a teardrop or a water drop gusset, where the decreases are actually on the inside of the at the bottom of the foot instead of in the instep. It's a really unique feature. I really enjoyed it. The pattern is a it's a little bit of a lacy type pattern, and it's very reminiscent of the Elder Wand, which was Dumbledore's wand, and it's just overall a great pattern. I test knitted the size large, and I completed the test knit on time. However, when I went downstairs to show my husband, he says, "Those are really cool. Can I have them?" I'm like, "If they fit." I'm like, I wasn't planning on knitting the second one because I don't have anybody that I thought would want the socks in this color. But he goes, "That's really cool. Can I have them?" And I can't say no to him. So this was a finished object. It is now a hoe, and here is my second sock set up. I do have the cuff already done, so I will be working on these this week. Alright, so that is the end of my finished objects. Just throwing everything down there. Okay, so on to whips. Like I said, this is my hoe, and here is the cuff. It's already done. I just have to do that sock. I'm hoping to get this sock done during my days off this week. I'll probably do like the leg tomorrow, the heel flap, gusset, and everything on Wednesday, and then the foot and toe on Thursday, and then just knock these out. They really, if you can see, they are really a simple, straightforward pattern. The chart is very memorizable, and overall it's just a fantastically fun thing to work up. Okay, now the only other active whip I have is my other Musselburgh, living in my Gilmore Girls Knit for Brains single skein bag. This is, ooh, losing a stitch is what it is. Okay, this is another Musselburgh. This is in It's a Trap by Lolo Did It. This was the June colorway for her, what's it called? I can't think. Star Wars Club. So I'm just gonna move my little marker up. Okay. So it's a trap, muscle burra. I do the adult medium, and I've only got about 5 inches left of the stocking net before I do the other crown. So overall, I anticipate having this done pretty quickly. And that's it for the active knitting. And we're at 41 minutes. Wow, that's a record, I think. All right, so coming up in August, I have 2 things that are like for sure happening, and 1 thing that, like, if I'm good, it'll happen. Now, these 2 things are both also acquisitions. The first thing is my July skein of the Star Wars Club. This is called That's No Moon, which is tribute to the Death Star. And this is absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love this. This is also going to be another muscle burra for my husband. And this is the one time I got him to agree to a hat, because he likes hats. He likes hats in the winter when he's out plowing my snow and shoveling snow, because he has to shovel some parts, but we have a snow plow for like the bad parts. So he said if I made him a muscle burra, he would absolutely wear it for shoveling the snow. So, yay. And that is there. Now, the other thing I'm doing is another test knit. This is for the Lopsided Crafter, Erica. And she is doing a Stranger Things cowl. And I am super excited for that. So it's DK Colorwork Charted Cowl, and I am using the Scout collection from Kelburn Woolens. Now I must be colorblind or something, but the colors call for gray, so I got charcoal gray, red, which I got scarlet heather, and then I could have sworn the pattern said blue. Apparently it's green, but she did say use whatever colors you want. So I got this one, and this is ocean heather. These are so cute together. I think that's going to be absolutely gorgeous. I don't think you're going to be able to see any, like, it's going to go together well. It's not going to look out of place because I used blue instead of green. So very excited for that. I'm going to be casting that on probably in the morning. Alright, and then I've got, as far as acquisitions go, I got some specialty needles. I got a 5.5 millimeter and a 5 millimeter 60-inch fixed circular needles, Chiagu red lace, and these are for a couple of blankets I'm probably gonna start during the holiday season, when you knit a blanket so you can keep warm with a blanket. And that's actually all my acquisitions, and that's the 2 things that I have to get done this month. I'm hoping to have them both done by the time, I want the the test knit cowl I'm hoping to have done before I leave for Disney. And then the muscle burra, I think that's going to be my Disney knitting. So yeah. And then the last thing that I am contemplating casting on, living in another Knit for Brains bag. It's another Gilmore Girls, and this is the larger bag. I've got 3 skeins in here. It's kind of amazing. But this is going to be my, ooh, that's a messy, messy ball. See, this is why you need wool condoms, because when the balls go awry, you need to wrap them up. Don't be a fool, wrap your tools. Okay. I'm gonna put these in wool condoms after we're done here. So this, it's 2 skeins of this, which I think is You're My Only Hope. No, it's not. May the 4th be with you. I'm out of it. This is May the 4th Be With You by Lolo Did It on her Dreamy base, which is 70% merino, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. It is so luxurious. Oh my god. And then the contrast color I chose, because if I had a lightsaber it would be blue, is the Elba Isle, or Elba Island. Is it Elba Island? I don't know, I'm missing some tags in here. But this is so gorgeous, and it's so soft and luxurious, and I love it so much. This is going to be a lapis tee by did I write it down? Yamagara is the designer's name. It is a bottom-up constructed semi-cropped tee in this fingering weight wool, and it is so delicious. I absolutely love it, and I cannot wait to get this on my needles. I might cast it on this week, if I get the rest of like my actual obligations done, and by that I mean what I want to accomplish for the shop, as well as what do I want to accomplish for my whips, and we'll go from there. It may or may not happen. I hope it does, because I'm really, really, really super excited to get that done. Okay, last little bit. I'm gonna try to make it quick. My new knitting journal. I'm so excited. So my birthday is in August, so I decided I'm gonna start doing New Year's in August, and that's where I'm going to prep my knitting journal. That's where I'm going to start everything. So I was super excited that I already had 2 new skills, so I wrote them down. But 2022 to 2023, this is going to be my knitting journal. On the first page, I'm going to list all of the new skills that I acquire throughout this year. I've got a make 9 list of things that I would like to knit this year. And then starting with August, I've got my whips, which are the Dumbledore socks, the It's a Trap hat, my spooky crochet hat, which I haven't shown because I haven't touched it, and my painting honeycombs, which again I haven't touched in like a month, and it's getting ridiculous. I have 15 stripes left on that one, so I know I can get it done. Then for cast-ons, I have That Snow Moon and Stranger Things. I always leave my finishes blank and then fill them in as I finished, because if I don't finish everything on my list, but I do a bunch of like random cast-ons, then I want to celebrate those accomplishments and not be too bummed out that I didn't do everything on my list. And then I have my plan of attack. These are today the 1st, but then the Sundays of each week. Because the month ends on like a Thursday or Friday, I'm technically counting that as a week of August. And that will give me 5 weeks in August. So, this week, the only thing I'm expecting of myself is the It's a Trap hat. Next week, I'm definitely going to finish the Dumbledore socks if I haven't done that already. The 3rd week, which is the week before we leave for Disney, I'm going to finish the painting honeycombs. It's a max of like 2 stripes a day would get me done with that. In that 1 week. 2 stripes a day for a week, I can do that. And then the last thing on my list for whips is my spooky crochet hat. And that's there. I've got my Stranger Things cowl, and that's going to be done. I'm hoping to get it done within those 3 weeks. And then my muscle bra, which I'm going to get it ready before we board the plane, knit on it while we're at Disney, and then do the other crown when I come back. It's going to be super, super relaxed. There's really not much there, because once I get there, it's like 18 inches over 7 days is 2.5 inches a day, which is nothing. And I will probably be taking it with us to the parks and everything to knit while we're waiting in lines, while everybody's eating, all of that fun stuff. So that is my plans for August. And quickly, we're going to look at what I did in July. Okay, so I'm super, super proud of this. I did not touch a single one of the whips that I had listed. It happens. But I completed 2 of the new cast-ons, and I'm about halfway done. I'm more than halfway done with this. I've only got about 5 inches before I do the next crown. So that, I'm super excited about that. I did a total of 9 finished objects. I did the cyan cowl. I did the blueberry cowl. I did the Ross hat and the purple socks. That's what I did last podcast. This time I did the blue raspberry. I did both pairs of my harpy socks, which have been waiting for a minute. I finished the test knit. I'm counting that as a finish. It's not my fault husband said, hey, I want those, and now I have to knit a whole nother sock for his big foot. And then I did, down to the wire, finish my love notes. Super, super happy about that. My modified plan, if you see like the purple writing, my modified plan, I did finish the love notes, and I got pretty close to finishing that hat. So I'm pretty excited with everything I did accomplish in the month of July. So here's to my new year, and hoping for great success. And I think that's it. I'm going to keep it pretty strictly knitting related because honestly I haven't read much. I've been reading those smut books through the apps still. Probably don't want to hear about those. I've really only been watching my knitting podcasts. I have been watching The Good Wife with, can't think of her name, Carol Hathaway from ER. I love her. It's also got Matt, I can't say his last name, he was Logan in Gilmore Girls. it's a great show. I can't believe it's taking me this long to get hooked to it. But that's really all I've been watching, podcasts and Good Wife. Haven't really been reading anything but internet smut. Yay. Alright, I've made it less than an hour. I'm gonna sign off. Thank you all so much. If you've gotten this far, like, share, subscribe, ring that bell, all that fun stuff. I super duper appreciate it. And keep your eyes out for the 5th when I should have a shop update. Okay, love you, bye.